स्टार्ट करें?
Shall we start?
ओके। अस्सलाम वालेकुम जी। आज हमारे साथ हैं मिस्टर टॉम केस्टर। अभी हम मौजूद हैं यहाँ पे शोबाइगन में जी। प्लेमाउथ एक जगह है, वहाँ पे फार्म है विस्कॉन्सिन मेडिसन में। और मिस्टर टॉम आलमोस्ट तकरीबन 70 साल से ये डेयरी ब्रीडिंग एक ब्रीडर फार्म है। आई मस्ट से कि टॉप नॉच ब्रीडिंग फार्म विस्कॉन्सिन मेडिसन में। और इनकी काव जो हैं वो ऑल ओवर अमेरिका, ऑल ओवर स्टेट जो है वो नंबर 1 या एक्सीलेंट स्कोर हुई हैं इससे पहले। तो हम कुछ क्वेश्चंस पूछना चाह रहे हैं इनसे, इनकी जो ओवरऑल मैनेजमेंट है काउस की। इनके हर्ड में ऐसी ऐसी काउस भी हैं जो कि एक या बल्कि एक पूरा बार है इनके पास जो कि एक दिन में 100 लीटर प्रोड्यूस करता है। तो अभी कुछ काउस हम आपको दिखाएंगे भी आगे चल के। सो मिस्टर टॉम, थैंक यू सो मच फॉर गिविंग अस टाइम टुडे एंड sir, specifically talking about the breeding progress, like it's been almost 70 years doing the dairy farming and at the state like here in Wisconsin Madison. What do you think? What is the current progresses and all over the world for the breeding process, and specifically since you know you've been connected with the Pakistani dairy industry for the past few years, so I would like to have your opinion on that.
Ask that one more time.
Yes.
My opinion on what?
Yes. Since you know the breeding progress, your opinion about the
In the United States.
Yeah, you've been witnessing the breeding progress over the so many decades.
Right.
Now, like, what is your opinion on in consideration with the dairy industry in Pakistan, since you've been connected with Pakistan dairy industry?
Well, in the United States, we didn't make much progress from individual herds did, but the entire United States didn't make a lot of progress from 1900 up until the early 1950s. Because of the way we didn't have the technology to compare animals and compare bulls and the way their daughters performed, and we were basically using some of the wrong formulas. Then a man called Bob Walton, who's a friend of mine, came along. He's 93 right now, and he developed a new system for approving bulls, and it changed really the whole industry. Instead of using dam-daughter comparisons, he went to herd mate comparisons, and you have many more herd mates than you do sisters. And we also got to a much less biased system where we're not having individual cows proven against the same individual's animals. They get proved on a nationwide basis. So we're getting a lot more accurate proofs nowadays than we used to. And then we're able to measure things. The whole industry, of course, has become modernized, and with modern computers, we're able to compare many more different things. And I sit on the CDBC board, the Center for Dairy Cattle Breeding, and we're an advisory committee to USDA on what things they should be working on and what things are important to the farmers. And we're able to zero in on individual traits much better than we could years ago, such as mastitis, mastitis resistance, feet and leg, what kind of foot and leg do we really want the cow to have, the breeding for more components, maybe even at the sacrifice of losing a little bit of milk. But the components in the United States have made a dramatical rise in the last 10 years. We've gone up for the first time ever this past year. the whole nation is averaging over a 4% butterfat, which is quite remarkable. The protein has gone up. So the components are how most of us get paid on. We get paid for the pounds of butterfat, the pounds of protein that we actually ship off the farm. So if you have to give up a few pounds of milk for 20% more components, it's well worth it financially. I think around the world, people I've talked to in Pakistan, they're used to drinking milk, not from necessarily Holstein cows, but from buffalo and other animals, and they have much higher components.
Yeah.
And my suggestion years ago was that to remove some of the water, and then you would have a higher component milk. But now maybe we don't have to do that if we get these cows bred to produce better components.
Yeah.
The worldwide wants more fat products from dairy. For a while that was out of vogue. They were all talking about protein, but fat is now definitely the driver in the United States for the butters, for the cottage cheeses, for the different specialty products that can be derived from the higher butterfat. But we've made progress because we've scientifically approached the breeding of cattle. And of course, genomics came along 10 years ago or so. We were one of the first herds to implement genomic testing. Our herd was one of the test herds. I think genomics has become an extremely good tool, but I think it's also been abused to a certain extent, that people just take the raw data, don't understand it, and think they do. Genomic testing is a tool. It's not the be-all, end-all of everything, but it's a tool. Then we have to look with what we really have in our hand, what we're dealing with, and sometimes it's different than what the genomics say we do. But it's a good starting point, and will be continued as something to grow on. But different herds are going to use genomics in different ways, and that's good, because then we're going to see what the results are of different methods of using genomics.
Yeah. So what do you think? What makes the components rise in United States for the previous years?
I think the main driver of it is genetics. We're breeding for components, and then the second one is we're thinking about it and feeding for it also, and we're managing the cows much better. The cows are being cooled in the summer, but we're feeding them much better balanced diets, so that the cow has a natural, every cow is different. Every cow has a natural level of components they want to produce at optimum level. And so knowing what your cow's level of genetics is for components is very helpful. It's much easier to feed a herd for high components that is bred for high components than one that is bred for low components and then try to make them into high component cows by feeding them. Doesn't work very well.
Yes. So maybe was it because of the breeding, they went global? Like, what was the strategy behind from CDCB and maybe the USDA? Did they, included the bulls from European, like from the Holland or from other countries, or they just, find some good bulls with high component from United States and then chip in?
The CDCB really doesn't have. They kind of follow the direction of their advisory board to a certain degree, but they also follow the bull studs to a degree.